MAGA Republicans do not respect the Constitution. MAGA forces are determined to take this country backwards to an America where there is no right to choose, no right to privacy, no right to contraception, no right to marry who you love. They promote authoritarian leaders and they fan the flames of political violence that are a threat to our personal rights, to the pursuit of justice, to the rule of law, to the very soul of this country. Much of what's happening in our country today is not normal. Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic. Now, I want to be very clear up front. Not every Republican, not even the majority of Republicans are MAGA Republicans. Not every Republican embraces their extreme ideology. I know, because I've been able to work with these mainstream Republicans. But there's no question that the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans. And that is a threat to this country.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Censor This Conservative podcast. So today we're going to get to Biden's speech, literally straight from the depths of hell. Could not have picked a more communist dictatorial set, as he had red lights in the background looking like something straight out of Joseph Stalin and Adolf Hitler. But anyway, so starting it off, somebody in the background, granted this was only a 22-minute speech, where President Trump over the weekend gave a 2-hour speech. So just put that in perspective there. Our former commander-in-chief gave a 2-hour speech to a sold-out rally in Pennsylvania with thousands of people, and our current commander-in-chief can't even speak for 22 minutes. But I digress. First, someone heckled Biden and chanted the fabulous F. Joe Biden at him. And Biden responded to this, shockingly enough, and he equated the heckler to a dark moment in our nation's history. So somebody heckling the president is a dark moment in history. No, Joe Biden, that is not a dark moment. What is a dark moment? 9/11. The JFK assassination. I could go on. Those things are monumental dark moments. You getting heckled because you're a piece of crap president is nowhere on the list of dark moments in this nation's history. This was a very radical, divisive speech from President Biden, which is funny to me because I thought this guy ran on unity and uniting the country and bringing us together. I mean, that's what he said in his Inauguration Day speech, and that's what he put out on Twitter. But of course, that's what they want you to think. They want you to think that they're uniting the country, but the reality is they don't want to unite the country. They want to divide and conquer. They want to bring us into the verge of a civil war in this country. And that is what this speech was. Divisive, extreme. I mean, he called MAGA Republicans, which he acted like he didn't know what MAGA stood for. MAGA stands for Make America Great Again. He never once mentioned that. He just referred to us as MAGA Republicans. Now, let's be real. Make America Great Again. There's nothing. I think if he would have said that, it would have killed the whole speech. But he referred to us as not normal. A threat. 80 million Americans voted for Donald Trump. 80 million Americans are apparently not normal. 80 million Americans are apparently a threat. This was a very authoritarian speech. The goal here was to divide. Okay, what they want to do is they want to have their own political power, and then they don't want to have any opposition. They want either the opposition to be so afraid that they do not speak out, or they want to discredit the opposition and just be like, oh, they're just a bunch of crazies, don't listen to them. That is the two ways they want to remove our speech from society. They want to pressure us and like stress us out so much that we stay quiet and stay silent. Or they just want to make us look like a bunch of crazies. That is very Hitlerist, and that is very Stalinist. Censoring of political opponents. And the backdrop, the speech was that way, and the backdrop was that way. The backdrop honestly looked like it was straight out of hell, which is ironic because that's where Biden's going to be heading one day, but I digress. Now, what are MAGA Republicans? What are our extreme viewpoints? How are we a threat? Well, let me tell you. So, the extreme MAGA agenda. Keep in mind, this is what President Joe Biden thinks is extreme. So, secure borders, having a secure southern border is extreme. Fair and honest elections, that is extreme. Energy and being energy independent. Being tough on crime. Saving the babies. Stopping genital mutilation of children. Putting parents first. School choice. Protecting our constitutional rights. And putting America first. What part of what I just listed sounds radical? What part of that sounds extreme? None of it. And then he said in his speech that we do not respect the Constitution. Well, what did I just read on that list? I said, protect constitutional rights, like our right to free speech, our right to bear arms, which you, Joe Biden, are trying to violate when you say you want to take away our AR-15s. Anyway, if anyone wants to try to take away constitutional rights, it is Joe Biden and the Democratic Party, not MAGA Republicans. This speech was very, as I said earlier, was divisive. And it was... Can we shut up about Trump at this point? I mean, from the standpoint of we need to move forward. And Joe Biden has said this. We need to move forward as a country. We need to stop looking in the past, stop looking at the past, stop bothering Trump, for God's sake. Leave him alone and move forward as a country. The speech was Trump, Trumpity Trump, Trump. Honestly, I think they're obsessed with Trump. I mean, they just did not stop talking about Trump. Why don't you talk about moving this country forward, moving this country in the right direction? Maybe talk about some of your accomplishments. Oh, wait, there is none, because you've been an absolute, utter failure. A failure. So this was all just a distraction. This was all a distraction. This was to distract you from Biden and his failed policies and his failed presidency. And to get you talking instead about Trump, Trumpity Trump. That's what this was. A giant, big distraction. Because we can't talk about what Biden's doing for this country because he's doing nothing. It was a big deflection. But the only people that are a threat to democracy and that are a threat to this country are the Democratic Party and their communist agenda. Communists vilify their political opponent. And this is a war declaration, okay? I don't want there to be a war, let me just put that out there. But Joe Biden, in this speech, through his hatred and contemptment for 80 million Americans, and those that believe differently, you either believe and go along with the Democratic agenda and the Democratic playbook, or you are a radical, or you are an extremist, or you are not normal. Okay? That is the plan. And the plan is to remove you from society, make you look like a crazy radical, and shut you up. They don't want anything that goes against their way and their agenda. He ended the speech looking lost as all hell. He was just looking around lost, waiting for his handler, Jill Biden. This guy shouldn't even be president, but he is being used by the Democratic Party as a ploy. The whole point of this speech is that conservatives are the enemy of the state. And frankly, yeah, you can call me a damn enemy of the state, because I do not support taking away our constitutional right to bear arms. I do not support censoring any form of speech unless it's a direct call for violence. I do not support genital mutilation of children. I do not support the government being the parent to children and parenting children. I do not support forcing kids to go to a certain school. I think parents should have a choice in that matter. I don't think we should be sending money to Ukraine and putting them before we put our own citizens. I think we should put our own citizens and our veterans and the people that can't even drink water because we have a water crisis. We should be putting them before we put Ukraine. But, that's extreme. I think we should be tough on crime. That's extreme. I think we should have energy independence and we shouldn't have to rely on other countries for oil and resources. Again, that's extreme. I think we should have fair elections that we can trust. I think we should have secure borders. But, that agenda is anti-American. That agenda is anti-democracy. That agenda is a threat to Joe Biden and the communist, socialist, New World Order agenda that the Democratic Party wants to bring in. And if Joe Biden wants to call me a threat to that, bring it on. Because yes, I am a threat. I do not want socialism. I do not want communism. I do not want authoritarianism. Plain and simple. So yes, I am a threat to those things, and I will fight till I am dead to keep our freedoms. The fact that he put 80 million Americans and treated them like a terrorist group, treated them like Al-Qaeda and ISIS, is really telling of where the Democratic Party and Joe Biden is. And I got one question for you, Joe Biden. He talked about us being a threat to the Constitution. What constitutional right is conservatives trying to take away? We've always been the party that is pro-Constitution. Okay? Pro-Second Amendment, pro-right to free speech. What right listed in the Constitution are we trying to take away? Because your fiction, you listed the right to choose. Okay, first of all, that was never a constitutional right for you to murder and maim and dismember your babies. That was never in the Constitution. It doesn't say, thou shalt murder babies, or thou shalt have abortion. That's not listed in the Constitution, buddy. So that has nothing, that's not a valid point. Number two, I believe you listed the right to gay marriage. That, again, that was not a constitutional right. So you add stuff to the Constitution that wasn't in the Constitution, and then say we're violating the Constitution and we're anti-Constitution because you want to take away those rights that you added to the Constitution. But then at the same time, you actively want to change the Constitution and get rid of the Second Amendment and the right to free speech. So I don't... Who is really the threat to democracy here? Who is really the threat to the Constitution? Joe Biden. Have a good week. God bless. Stay safe.